Hey guys, thanks for joining me. We're here, we're going to tackle Luke chapter 11, verse 37, and then we're going to go 3 verses into verse 12, right? Or chapter 12. So up to 12:3. So Luke 11:37 up to 12:3. I just think they kind of bridge, they kind of connect there. You will remember in Scripture the enumeration, the putting in of chapters and verses wasn't there originally. So really, the narrative did flow, and so sometimes where it's broken up, I mean, it's arbitrary. I feel that it flows naturally into the first 3 verses of chapter 12. So we can do that kind of thing. Let's go ahead and read. We'll pray together. You might hear some yard work going on around me, stuff like that. Neighbors, noises. I feel we should just go for it. I sometimes like complete quiet when I'm sitting to read the word, but life happens and it's often not completely quiet. And I felt today life is happening, but we find time and carve time out in real life. Noises or not outside, we still our hearts and can put time aside with God and in a sense be in the Spirit, despite life potential distractions for us, right? Let's pray. Dear Lord, thank you that we can stop no matter where we are, even in the middle of a storm, Lord. And some people even right now, Lord, are going through storms, even watching this video, storms or pressures, financial pressures, health pressures, relational pressures, worries for people we love. And Lord, you said in this life we would have trouble, but take heart. You have overcome the world. And Lord, I just pray that you help us right now to take heart as we put this time aside with God, just to cast our cares on you and to take heart that you have come to save. I pray you speak to us through your word now. In Jesus' name, amen. Okay, let's read this passage first. It's a little bit of a read, so just sit back, take it in. While Jesus was speaking, a Pharisee asked him to dine with him. So he went in and reclined at table. The Pharisee was astonished to see that he did not first wash before dinner. And the Lord said to him, "Now you Pharisees cleanse the outside of the cup and of the dish, but inside you are full of greed and wickedness. You fools! Did not he who made the outside make the inside also? But give as alms those things that are within, and behold, everything is clean for you. But woe to you, Pharisees, for you tithe mint and rue and every herb, and neglect justice and the love of God. These you ought to have done without neglecting the others. Woe to you, Pharisees, for you love the best seat in the synagogues and greetings in the marketplaces. Woe to you, for you are like unmarked graves, and people walk over them without knowing it." One of the lawyers answered him, "Teacher, in saying these things, you insult us also." And he said, "Woe to you, lawyers, also, for you load people with burdens hard to bear, and you yourselves do not touch the burdens with one of your fingers. Woe to you, for you build the tombs of the prophets whom your fathers killed. So you are witnesses, and you consent to the deeds of your fathers, for they killed them, and you build their tombs. Therefore, also the wisdom of God said, I will send them prophets and apostles, some of whom they will kill and persecute, so that the blood of all the prophets shed from the foundation of the world may be charged against this generation, from the blood of Abel to the blood of Zechariah, who perished between the altar and the sanctuary. Yes, I tell you, it will be required of this generation. Woe to you, lawyers! for you've taken away the key of knowledge. You did not enter yourselves, and you hindered those who were entering." As he went away from there, the scribes and the Pharisees began to press him hard and to provoke him to speak about many things, lying in wait for him to catch him in something he might say. We merge into the first 3 verses of 12 here. "In the meantime, when so many thousands of the people had gathered together that they were trampling one another, he began to say to his disciples first, 'Beware of the leaven of the Pharisees, which is hypocrisy. Nothing is covered up that will not be revealed, or hidden that will not be known. Therefore, whatever you have said in the dark shall be heard in the light, and what you have whispered in private rooms shall be proclaimed on the housetops.'" It actually naturally kind of flows into the next section as well, but we'll leave it right there. This is intense. It's always struck me. Jesus was invited to a Pharisee's house to dine with him, so he went in and reclined at table. That's vulnerable. Jesus knew these people were jealous. He knew these people were the influential people of the day. He could sense tension, and his own heart, we can see, was full of zeal for their hypocrisy. That's a very important verse, I feel, in 12:1, where it says he's warning his disciples. He says, "Beware of the leaven," or the yeast, that ingredient that grows and works its way through the dough, right? He says, "Beware of the leaven," or the yeast of the Pharisees, which is hypocrisy. He names it. The hypocrisy of these lawyers, or that can be called teachers of the law. The leaven, that thing that moves through them, he says, is hypocrisy. He said, beware of it. I think it's interesting. I think it's with power, with influence comes the manifestation of hypocrisy. He goes on, he says to them, "Woe to you, you just love attention. You love the seats in the greetings in the marketplace. That celebrity kind of honor, you just love it. Woe to you." Really challenging. It's so tempting and feels so good to be known in life, right? Where people see you, they recognize you, and there's a certain truth in it. The whole real message that we need to reach people with is that they are known. They're known by God. They're seen by God. But we obsess with attention from people. Look what Jesus said in John 5:44 here to the Pharisees. This is amazing. He said that their hunger for attention from one another blocked their ability to believe in Jesus. 5:44. "How can you believe," Jesus said to them, "when you receive glory from one another and do not seek the glory that comes from the only God?" How can you believe? He's like, Jesus is to the Pharisees, and John there, he's like, how can you believe? How can you believe in me? You guys have eyes on each other the whole time. Honestly, I think of church leaders because that's our structure. I'm no better than them. But there's this obsession with approval from one another. It can block our eyes on the approval that comes from the one and only God. We have to be so careful we don't get caught up. Listen, the other thing I have to say about that is, where does it land? If you get attention from people, even if they think you're amazing, what does that do for you? Does it change your identity? Does it make you amazing? Does it give you some special powers? Does it elevate you in life and inheritance? No. Glory from man to man lands on nothing. It lands on our pride, but it changes nothing. in terms of the reality of who we are, the reality of who we are before God. It changes nothing. In fact, the only thing that attention and glory from mankind can do is push you towards temptation of sin. So we just have to be careful with it. We just have to be careful with it. I'm not talking about that innocent kind of affection and blessing and honor that people give you. I'm talking about that spirit change of pride. That's what we all have to struggle with, is where something good moves into something bad. It's a spirit change. We need to discern. So this is so vulnerable for Jesus. He walks into a hornet's nest and he embraced it. He used this private time with the Pharisees and the teachers of the law to rebuke them. Now, one thing he said to the teachers of the law I think is so important. Here, teachers of the law, or the lawyers, he says, let me see here. You have taken away the key of knowledge, the law. You know it and you're not using it to bring people to me. You know it, but you're not using it to bring people to me. In fact, you did not enter yourselves through this key, the knowledge of the Old Testament, the prophetic, pointing you to Jesus. You did not use the law to come to Christ. You did not use it appropriately. And you did not enter yourselves, and you hindered those who were entering. This is Luke 11:52. People use the scriptures to drive people away from Jesus, or they block the way. The scriptures testify about Christ. John 5:39-40. Jesus also said to the Pharisees, right? We were actually just in John 5, right? 44. Just a few verses before that, 39-40. Jesus says to the Pharisees, he says, you search the scriptures. You're obsessed with them because in them you think you possess eternal life, knowing the scriptures, but the scriptures refer to me, testify about me, and yet you refuse to come to me. John 5:39-40. Key scripture. If people are using the Bible not to bring you to the true identity of Jesus Christ, they are misusing it and they are blocking other people from the true pointing of scriptures. It says the law was our guardian until Christ came. That's in Galatians 3, is it 3:28? The law was our guardian. I have to look that up. That's really important. It was our guardian until Christ came, to lead us to Christ. The true one identity of Christ, not to veer us off. These people who knew the Bible, are they using it to lead people to Christ? The true Christ? Or are they misusing the law and blocking other people from following its lead to Christ? So, the way we know if someone is truly using the Bible the way it should be used is not that it's pointing people to Israel, Zion, pointing people to laws and Sabbath, festivals, Colossians 2, something to 23, 18-23, is it? It's like, don't let anyone judge you, even on a Sabbath day. Are people using the law to point people to this festival, that tradition, this law, Aramaic, Hebrew? Or are they using it to lead people to Jesus Christ and then back off? Or are they using it to distract? Because Jesus was upset about that. He said, woe to you for doing that. And then he warns his people. So beware of their hypocrisy. Hypocrisy. They're saying one thing, they're not living it. The inside. They make the outside look clean, the inside. Discern the spirit, folks. And then he says, he warns them and he speaks of the Pharisees. No one's going to get away with this. Nothing is covered up that will not be revealed, or hidden that will not be known. Therefore, whatever you have said in the dark shall be heard in the light. So live your lives accordingly. And he's speaking of the Pharisees as well and their hypocrisy. Don't worry, this hypocrisy will be exposed. Have lives of integrity. What's going on behind closed doors, let that be who you truly are, so that that's just what shows out in public. Don't live a dual life. Hypocrisy. Okay, let's leave it there. We'll pick up next from 12, Luke 12:4 up to 21. But for now, let's leave that there.